Xiaomi released the Redmi K20, the Redmi K20 Pro, the Xiaomi Mi 9, the Hey guys, it's Mitchell. I'm sorry I couldn't do this intro to the podcast with a straight face. I wanted to do the podcast today and talk about the Poco phone F2, which is the Xiaomi Mi 9T, which is the Redmi K20 and the Redmi K20 Pro, and just this whole debacle about what Xiaomi is doing right now. If you guys are new to the podcast, I do this podcast every week or so, and we just kind of cover news or other long form things that people want me to talk about or people have opinions on regarding tech. If you guys are listening to this on YouTube, you might also want to check out the link in the description for Google Podcasts, as this is kind of an audio podcast. Also, it's worth mentioning that this is on SoundCloud for those that are curious about it. So, enough of the intro, and let's just go ahead and start talking about this. So, Xiaomi launches the Redmi K20 and the Redmi K20 Pro, which are very close in specs to the Mi 9T and the Mi 9 SE, which are kind of redundant devices, but I understand why Xiaomi is doing that. Different markets want different things, and for some markets, they want a budget-built device that still has more premium specs and a more premium user experience versus a device that just necessarily feels better in the hand. So I understand the point of the Redmi K20 and the Redmi K20 Pro. People are wondering whether or not the Redmi K20 Pro is going to be the next Poco phone F2, and I think that Xiaomi is just making a huge mistake with the way they are going about this international rollout of these devices. And the reason I say this is because Xiaomi's user base and Xiaomi's popularity is largely based on the internet, or at least communities on the internet, people talking about their devices on the internet, people sharing their positive user experiences regarding their products on the internet. And so when Xiaomi releases a Redmi K20 Pro in China, and it's the same exact device as the Mi 9T that they're going to get in Europe, but then in India, they're releasing it as the K20 and K20 Pro, but then in other countries, it's being released as a Poco phone F2. It really leads to a lot of consumer confusion, especially since it's been rumored that Xiaomi is going to be pricing these devices at different price points. So if you're living in one country, this phone might be $350. If you're living in another country, the same device might have a different name, but be $450. And so Xiaomi going about releasing this product with this naming strategy, it hurts their brand, at least in my opinion, in a couple of ways. First, it creates added confusion for the consumer because they're having all of these devices with the same spec, different names. The second way it hurts them is that if I live in one country where this is the Mi 9T and it's going to start at $400, what incentive do I have to not import a version from somewhere else if all of the bands are compatible? And that kind of creates resentment among consumers. So if I'm a potential Xiaomi consumer and I'm looking to buy a new phone from them, seeing that they're essentially just upcharging this device in my country doesn't necessarily make me feel good about supporting that brand. I want to know what you guys think. As a consumer, does this hurt your opinion of Xiaomi, the brand? Let me know in the description or in the comment section down below. If you're listening to this on SoundCloud, leave me a comment on SoundCloud. Or if you're in my Telegram community, let's talk about this on Telegram. But I think that it does kind of hurt Xiaomi's reputation and their brand image. And the fact that they're launching this as the Mi 9T in some places makes it even more confusing, because the Redmi brand is supposed to be their budget brand, yet they're giving us the budget brand and they're calling it the Mi 9, which is their premium line of phones. and then they're upcharging it. So at least from where I am living here in Vietnam, I'm curious, did I get a really good deal on the Redmi K20 Pro because I spent like $370 on, or maybe $400 on a phone with 6 gigs of RAM, 128 gigs of storage? Like, did I get a really, really good deal? Because this device was nearly the same price as my girlfriend's Xiaomi Mi 9, and the differences between them are really, really small. And I'll be doing a follow-up video that's just kind of going to be a direct comparison between them, and I'll also going to be doing a comparison with the Poco F1. In regards to cameras, the K20 Pro, the cameras are worse than the Mi 9 because they're the cameras from the Mi 9 SE. And if you guys want to see the Xiaomi Mi 9 Redmi K20 Pro camera comparison video I'll have a link to it up here. The next thing that I wanted to go over and talk about was going from the Pocophone F1 to the K20 Pro as my daily phone, and just kind of what my experience has been. This isn't going to be a comprehensive review or comparison between the two. This is just going to be kind of a user experience kind of conversation that we're going to have. So to start, the user experience of these phones, I have both of them set up almost exactly the same. I'm going to be installing Xiaomi EU whenever that becomes available and putting the Poco launcher on the Redmi K20 Pro. So my user experience in regards to software is going to be almost identical to that of the Pocophone F1. So I just wanted to get that out of the way. It's the user experience I like. I'm probably not going to do Pixel experience on it. I haven't had the greatest experience with the Pixel experience ROM. Let's talk about speed. Now, I have my Pocophone F1 underclocked by 25%, and I have some custom tweaks made on Franco kernel. And if you guys want to see a video about how I set up my Pocophone F1 in regards to kernel and ROM, I'll have a link to that video up here. But I went ahead and I set the kernel and clock, and I basically returned it as far back to stock as I could on the Pocophone F1. In regards to speed that I'm getting from the Redmi K20 Pro, there is a difference in speed. It is not a big difference in speed. One thing that setting my Pocophone back to stock did for my user experience and using it is it reminded me how fast the Pocophone F1 was. I have decided to sacrifice the performance for battery life. Again, personal decision. But setting all that stuff back to stock, I was like, wow, these two devices are really close in regards to this, like the overall speed of opening apps and stuff like that. One place that I have noticed a little bit of a difference is when you're taking pictures with the two of them and you're doing HDR in Gcam. I do have an early build of Gcam on the K20 Pro. Yes, I will be doing a video about that. Subscribe to see that video. And when I do HDR or I do night mode, the processing of the Redmi K20 Pro is nearly instantaneous, right? Like I can shoot a series of like 7 or 8 photos with the Redmi K20 Pro, and it processes all of the HDR stuff super, super fast. In regards to the camera, the main 48 megapixel camera on the Redmi K20 Pro, being the IMX586, is really close to it on the Pocophone F1. And if you guys want a video comparing the night shot, which I only use the stock cam on both cameras, I found that between the two devices, there was a difference. It wasn't a big difference. It is a tangible enough difference to say that if you have neither of these devices and you're looking for a new device, get the Redmi K20 Pro. It's a newer sensor, but the experience isn't necessarily that much better. The IMX363, which is what the Pocophone F1 has, it's the same sensor that's in the Google Pixel 3. So that just speaks to the level that image signal processing and software can have on your final image. If that is something that you guys want me to do more about in regards to like comparing Gcam versus the stock Xiaomi camera, I can try to do a video like that. Let me know about that in the comment section down below on Telegram or on SoundCloud. I think that'd be an interesting video. The next thing that really pops out to me is the screen. And there's no getting around it. Comparing the screen of the Poco F1 to that of the Mi 9, the Mi 9, sorry, to the Redmi K20 Pro, the screen of the Poco Phone F1 just can't compare. The AMOLED quality display on the Redmi K20 is great. I got to watch some HDR10 content on YouTube on the K20 Pro in full HD, and oh my God, it is absolutely incredible. The footage looks almost fake. It looks so oversaturated. It looks so vibrant and so realistic. It really, really pops out of the screen. I mean, that's really impressed me, has been the overall kind of HDR10 experience, and it's great that YouTube supports that. And the fact that the Redmi K20 Pro has a nice display is awesome. The next thing I wanted to talk about is the notch versus the pop-up versus the teardrop notch. And people have been asking me a lot about this. And I think the answer that I have for most people isn't going to be well received. And that is, if I could go today into any store and buy the Redmi K20 Pro with a teardrop notch, the same notch that's on my girlfriend's Mi 9, or I could buy it with the pop-up camera, I'm choosing the teardrop notch. The reason specifically for that is twofold. One, while I think that the pop-up camera on the Redmi K20 Pro is great, I don't see it being a real kind of downside. The fact of the matter is that this is still something to break, right? Like, I understand that they have the features on it to make sure that it doesn't break, but at the end of the day, if I'm spending money on a device, I want the most durable device possible. I don't think that that's a surprise to anyone. And I think that people in the budget category as well, a lot of my Indian viewers, if you're listening to this in India, let me know in the comment section. Or the Philippines, love all you Filipino fucking viewers. You guys are awesome. And you guys always leave me like the really, really nice, polite comments. If you're in the Philippines, shout out. Same for Malaysia. I love your food. I've been to Malaysia. I'm going to do another trip to Malaysia soon. So I don't like the fact that there's moving parts. It's that simple. Another thing to pay attention to is that with all of these new cell phones, content that's shot in HD, as in 1920 by 1080, it doesn't fill up the screen. It doesn't here. And as I'll talk to you guys, I will show you an example of a video. But when you are watching this on the Redmi K20 Pro, the fact that there's no notch, it doesn't do jack shit. Like, there's no way for me to get around it. Sorry for cursing, but there's no way to get around it. And here, you guys will see what I mean. So here, this is my camera comparison. As you guys can see, it doesn't fill up the whole display. To fill up the display, you have to pinch to zoom, and then it cuts off stuff that's on the top and on the bottom. So if you're worried about the notch taking up extra room, it doesn't really, right? You're either pinching to zoom it and you're cutting off the top and the bottom, and then you're gonna have like the little really, really like unnoticeable amount that's taken up by the camera. Like, you're already chopping the top and the bottom off. It's that simple. Like, it doesn't make that much of a difference. Gaming, again, you're either like stretching it to fill the screen, or there's like the little minuscule like cutout for the camera. I don't see the difference, right? Like I use these devices and this is firsthand, right? I know people are going to complain, I hate the notch. I hate the notch. I think the Poco Phone F1, correct. And this is something that does annoy me. On the Poco Phone F1, the notch is much bigger, right? And the notch on the Poco Phone F1 does eat into your ability to like view content or on Instagram or for notifications. But on the Mi 9, the notch is so small, you still get all of your notifications, right? I've never let my notifications build up to the point where I have notifications going all the way across the top of the screen. So you're losing out on the ability for like 3 notification icons on the top. And if you're telling me that you would rather have a moving part that could fail so you can have an extra 3 notification icons up on top, then you can just go fuck yourself. Like, I hate to use language like that, but like if your decision is you would rather have a device that will be easier to break so you can have a few extra notifications, I think that's absurd. Especially when I know that a lot of people are worried about the build quality of these devices. You want a phone with a moving screen, with a moving part, because you don't want the notch in the screen, but you want the best build quality. Like, guys, we have to just realize that none of these devices are ultra premium devices, right? None of them are. And to be honest with you, they're all better than the iPhone. The iPhone still has a huge notch up top. And Apple has kind of decided that they're going to stay with facial recognition, which is going to require either under display infrared 3D dot matrixy, whatever the hell you call it, cameras, or yeah, I mean, Apple is committed to that. And they're not going to be giving you guys an in-display fingerprint scanner, at least in the near future, because then that would be Apple going back on their Touch ID is worse than facial recognition thing. So they're all better than the iPhone, right? Everyone is chasing the iPhone. I understand that the teardrop notch thing is a compromise, but it's a good compromise. The next thing that I wanted to touch on really quick, and I'm sorry, I know that some people asked about this, it's the 2.5D glass. Shut the fuck up. Just shut up, okay? I understand that this device has 2.5D glass. I totally get that. But the moment you put it in a case, it doesn't matter. The moment you put a screen protector on it, it doesn't matter. In fact, if you care so much about the 2.5D glass, then you're going to need a screen protector that kind of goes over that 2.5D glass, and then it kind of kills the seamless like experience that you have of rubbing it from side to side, and then you put it in the case, and guess what? Your 2.5D glass is just as effective as my non-2.5D glass on the Poco Phone F1. That's it. There's no difference. In fact, what I would like more than 2.5D glass is I would like for them to include a better case, because 9 out of 10 people and 100% of people in developing markets where they're saving up money for 6 months to buy this phone are going to put a tempered glass screen protector on this, and then they're going to put it in a case. So you can shut up about your 2.5D glass and how that feels, because you're probably going to put the device in a case and then put a screen protector on it. So it doesn't matter. And these are things that you're only going to notice if you use all of these devices, right? Not all cell phone reviewers are going to have used a Poco Phone F1 in a case, outside of a case, with a screen protector, without a screen protector. Not all reviewers are going to have used the K20 Pro with a case, without a case, with a screen protector, without a screen protector. That's what sets me apart from other channels. And I'm not gonna call people out, but when you see a review on a device, most of the time they're trying to get the review out as fast as possible. They haven't used the device extensively. They don't have real world experience with it. And that's why I really, really take my time when I give you guys a full review, because ultimately you want to know what these devices are like to live with. You don't want specs. You want to know, how is this device after 4 or 5 days? What are some of the things you notice about it? If I buy this device, what are things that I won't like? So that's why I take time with these. I try to give them as much real world use as I can. And that's what sets my channel apart from other channels. Okay, the last and final thing I want to touch on for this podcast has been something that's been in the back of my head. I filmed the video on it, I deleted the video on it, and that is that, in my opinion, the last and final thing I want to touch on for this podcast has been something that's been in the back of my head. I filmed the video on it, I deleted the video on it. In my opinion, the Xiaomi Mi AirDots Pro are a failure of a device. I know people are going to give me shit, but after living with them, I think that the AirDots Pro are a failure. Here's why. Xiaomi gave us 3 products. They gave us the Redmi AirDots, the AirDots Youth, and now the Mi AirDots Pro. The Redmi AirDots were supposed to be the cheapest option. They, I'm assuming, are made by QCY, right? As QCY is an affiliate of Xiaomi, and QCY does a lot of ODM, which is original device manufacturing, for other companies. Then Xiaomi gave us the AirDots Youth, which that's supposed to be their budget, but still more premium offering with AAC audio and then capacitive touch controls. So we have like the ultra budget, we have the slightly upgraded, not ultra budget, and then we have what Xiaomi kind of introduced as a premium, better than those other devices experience. And the user experience with the Mi AirDots Pro has been a joke. They've been out now for 2 months. There has not been any updates for them. There is no application for them. There is no set of features or set of things that I think make them worth the $60. Like here, Xiaomi's giving us a smart case. Well, the reality is that with Bluetooth 4.2 and the smart case, they are pairing to the device about as quickly as my Sabit E12s, which I'll have a comparative review coming out in the next day on those. So your smart case is just allowing them to pair faster. The button on the side of the case only comes into effect when you're pairing them to a new phone, and you do that once or twice if you're like me and you go through phones pretty frequently. The button is supposed to activate a case battery notification light. The notifications for it are terrible. There's no way to get around that. A long blink to tell you that the battery life is fine, and then a blinking light to tell you that you need to charge. It's like saying, hey, this is good. Oh, hey, no, this is bad now. But there really isn't much in between. When you combine this with the fact that the AirDots Pro have a serious standby battery drain issue with a pair of headphones that already have bad battery life, and oftentimes if I don't use them every day, I'll pick them up and I'll only have like 3 hours of battery life or 4 hours of battery life with them. On top of that, the active noise cancellation sucks and it eats through battery really fast. Today I was watching a basketball game on my tablet. My girlfriend was sleeping. I wanted to use my AirDots Pro because they're easy to use in mono mode. I couldn't even get through a full hour and a half of usage using one headphone with the Mi AirDots Pro. And that was not using active noise cancellation. On top of that, Xiaomi has given us a headphone design that, at least for Western-sized ears, this might be different for ears of people living in Asia because they fit in my girlfriend's ears and seal pretty well. If you're a Westerner, if maybe you're Indian or you're not a petite, smaller built person from China or from the Asia region, they're probably not going to like seal your ears. So here Xiaomi's giving us a product where they say, hey, we're going to give you active noise cancellation, which is great in theory. But at the same time, they're not giving you a design that allows for them to seal in most people's ears. So you need that active noise cancellation just to have a level of sound isolation that I get with the Sabit E12s or a variety of other Bluetooth headphones. So in that way, the design is terrible, the implementation is terrible, and I think that they're kind of just a bad choice. On top of all of this, I know that there is some kind of chip or there's some kind of processor inside of the AirDots Pro, because when I plug the case into my computer, it continuously gives me a pop-up telling me that it can't connect to it. So there's some kind of smart circuitry in the headphones. And if Xiaomi's going to go through the trouble of doing that, why can't I have an application or a computer application that allows me to change the functionality of the headphones? If Xiaomi could fix the standby battery drain, give me a longer ear fin to seal inside my ear, and allow me to customize the controls, I would say that the Mi AirDots Pro are the best headphones I've used because they sound good. The Bluetooth 4.2 isn't that big of a deal. They have a great sound stage, right? And the case is convenient, but they have standby battery drain and they have all these other issues. And only so many of these issues can be fixed with software updates. So I'm looking at the Mi AirDots Pro as just kind of a half-assed, unpolished, unfinished device. And when I see people like Everything Apple Pro who review the Xiaomi Mi AirDots, and the title of his video is like, oh, these $60 headphones are actually pretty good, it's like I cringe, because obviously the guy didn't use them extensively, and I'm sorry to call out his channel, but people that trust what he says, that are spending a lot of their hard-earned money on them because they think it's going to be a good user experience, he's kind of leading them wrong. And same with all these other tech YouTubers that are trying to tell you that the Mi AirDots Pro are pretty good. Because I have two other pair of headphones that are priced comparably, if not cheaper, that offer similar to better, if not better sound, that offer Bluetooth 5.0, that still offer the AAC audio codec. And really the only difference between the two of them is that they don't have a smart case, or they might not offer USB-C charging, but they offer like better controls, equally as good sound, better battery life. And so it's just kind of frustrating to me, because I really try to share with my consumers, or share with my fellow viewers, what I think is the best value for stuff. I really try to share with you guys where I think you should be putting your money. And if there's a product that I don't like, then I'm going to be honest and tell you guys. Sorry for that kind of long-winded rant. And I hope you guys appreciate the honesty. You know, till next time, it's been Mitchell, Mitchell Millennial Podcast. I'm out. Peace.